Now, since we are on the topic of assigning permission to files and directories and changing groups and ownership, we have to look into the access control list as well. So, let's take a real-life scenario. Nilesh and Mind working in a company in two different teams on the same project. One day, Mind created a bash script, and he wants to share this script or allow this script accessible to Nilesh, who is working in a different team.
I have to share this file with Nilesh, but I don't want to change the ownership of this file, and Mind is not part of this group. How can I do this now?
Hey Mind, how are you? Did you share that script with me?
Yeah, I am working on that. I don't know how to share this file with you without changing the ownership of this file.
Oh, let me help you with this. Did you know about the ACL permissions?
Yeah, I heard about that. Can you explain to me what it is and how to use ACL permissions?
Access control list is another layer, or I would say a top layer or additional layer, that runs on top of your permissions, which allows you to assign permission per user. So what is ACL? ACL stands for Access Control List, which provides an additional, more flexible permission mechanism for file systems. It is designed to assist with Unix file permissions. ACL allows you to permit any user or group to any disk resources. So basically, ACLs are used to make a flexible permission mechanism in Linux.
The commands to assign and remove ACL permissions are setfacl and getfacl. So setfile ACL and getfile ACL. Getfile ACL will give you the information about the existing permissions of a file, and set will allow you to set the permissions as you want to it. Let's look at a few examples. Here is the list of commands for setting up ACLs. To add permission for a user, you have to run a command set file ACL with the -n option to modify U for the user, and then you have to separate it with the colons where user is your user's name. In my case, it will be Nilesh, and then column and the permission that you wanted to give that user to. And then, of course, the last part is the file name. Which file do you want to give permission to? Make sure you specify the complete, absolute path. To add permission for a group, you could also allow permission to a specific group. So again, if you give permission, let's say to read permission to the group, the middle 3 bits, then every group in your Linux system can read it. But what if you only want one group to read it, right? That could be a problem. So then again, Access Control List comes to the rescue. To add that group to allow it to read or write that specific file, you have to set it with G and the group name and the permissions. To allow all files or directories to inherit ACL entries from the directory, it is within meaning cascading, which will be set with a -arm option. And then, you just enter whatever you want to put in and the name of the directory. To remove a specific entry, you will have to set facl with -x to remove it, and then you will have to specify the user and the name of the file. This is only for a specific user. Now, let's say you want to remove all the ACL permissions from everyone. Then you have to set facl with -b option and the name of the file. Couple of things that you need to remember. One is as you assign the ACL permission to a file or directory, you will see that it will add a plus sign at the end of the permission. So, when you run ls-l, the first column which shows you the permissions, it adds the plus sign at the end of it, which shows that it has ACL assigned to it. The second thing is setting with W permission with ACL does not allow you to remove a file. You can modify and edit the file, but you cannot delete that file. So now, let's get into our Linux machine, and we'll try a couple of these commands to learn how we could set ACL permissions to a file that is owned by someone else.
Here I opened up two terminals side by side. On the left terminal, I logged in as root, and on the right terminal, I logged in as Nilesh. Come to the left terminal, which is root. I'm in my temp directory, and I'm going to create a file. Let's say I'm going to call it testing script Deutsch. Let's make sure it is created and has the right permission. As you could see, it is created, owned by root, and owned by group root. And the owner can read and write. The group can only read, and others can only read. If you do get facl on the file, you will see more information. The user permission, group permission, or the permission. Now comes to a part where you want to allow only Nilesh to write to that file. Then, as you know, Nilesh counts or considers as other, right? Nilesh falls in this category. If we give permission to others, then all users can access this file. So to overcome this problem where only one user can modify that file, then you'll assign it as a setfacl. So do setfacl -m to modify your permissions U for user. Who's the user? Nilesh. And what permission you want give? You want Guive, read and write. And the name of the file would be tmp, and the file name is testingscript.rh. But before we run it, we just want to check if Nilesh is able to edit that file or not. So come to the right side and vi testingscript.h. It says at the bottom right here, read only. So even if I put in something, hello or whatever that you want put and save it, it will tell me I can't open the file. It's not editable. I do not have permission, so I cannot do it. If I run this command setfacl with Nilesh with read and write as well for that file, hit enter now. To verify it, if it actually has set those permission, you do getfacl, and you will see right now, right here it says user, Nilesh has that right to modify it. Now, if I do vi testing script dish, you see I do not have that same error that I was getting at before. I could just put in anything I want. Let's say hello Nilesh, save it, and it lets me save it. And when I do cat on testing script dash, I am able to do that. Same thing, if you wanted to do that group assignment to the permission, you'd run the same command, but instead of U, you put in G and hit enter. And when you do getfacl, you will see now group Nilesh also can modify this file. So if a user is part of my group, they could actually go in and modify that file. Going to number 4, the number 3.1 is to actually assign those permissions and cascade down to every file and directory, which is very simple. So I'll jump right into number 4. To remove those specific permissions, I will have to do setfile ACL -x. And what are you taking out? You're taking out the user Nilesh permission, and for that, you have to type the file name, run getfacl, and you'll see that Nilesh user is gone. But what if you want to remove everything? Not just user, but every permission for every user or every group. Then you will have to run the command setfile ACL as -b option. And now when you do get facl, you'll see it's back to its original state. That's how it works. And when I said you cannot delete, even though I do have the right permission to write to the file, edit that file, I cannot delete that. So if I do rm Nilesh, by the way, I have to give the permission back again. This is the permission. Let's verify it again. Yes, I do have permission to read and write to it. So if I try to remove it, it will say operation not permitted. So the reason I'm including that, so I don't want you to waste your time by, trying to delete that file and thinking, hey, I do have the right permission, but why can I not delete it? The reason that ACL does not put that in there, so it only gives that right to only the user, just in case by accident that user deletes that file. So that's how the ACL permission works.
Hey, that's cool. Thanks, buddy, for helping me. Let me give you the ACL permissions for that file. Thanks again, mate.
It's very granular and it goes down to the user level. And again, one more time, the reason it was built or it was introduced into the Unix or Linux environment is so we could assign permission to the user, not to every user, but to a specific user. So try it out and try it on different files, try on different directories, see how the directory works as well, how it could change the files if you could log in CD into the directory by giving specific access to a user. See you in the next video.